No surveillance cameras. No social media. No digital footprints. Yet right in the heart of modern America, there's a community that runs by its own code, where control doesn't come from the government, but from faith. Here, adulthood begins with wild experiments. Loyalty is measured by silence, and a single misstep can erase you from your family forever. Secrets are tucked into folds of robes, hidden in closed-door meetings no outsider will ever witness. Not everything is clean. Not everything is meant to last. And now, the cracks are starting to show. Number 1. Rebellions in the dark. At 16, Amish teens enter a phase the outside world calls Rumspringa, loosely translated as running around. In a nearly sealed-off society, letting youth momentarily step outside strict traditions seems contradictory. But it's precisely during this time that the unspoken begins to surface. No longer tied to church services or farm work, some teens suddenly face a world they were never allowed to touch. Cars, cell phones, alcohol, EDM drugs. This freedom doesn't come gradually, it explodes. No rules, no limits, no one stopping them. For weeks, months, or even years, they're allowed to pause the community's norms. Some groups form secret circles outside the farms. In some cases, dozens rent apartments together, throw weekend parties, and live like any suburban American teen. There have been arrests, car crashes, even overdoses. One teen was found running a small-scale weed operation, all while officially still on Amish experimentation. But the flip side of that freedom isn't responsibility. It's a one-way choice. When the testing ends, they must decide return and commit through baptism, or leave for good, knowing they'll lose all contact with their parent siblings and the entire community. One sentence from a parent. They chose to leave, and every bond is severed. Roughly 85–90% return. But that number doesn't tell the whole story. Many go back because there's no way out. No high school diploma, no support network, no idea how to navigate modern society. They can't explain their past to any employer outside the community. They don't return by choice. They return because they're trapped. Some are pressured back. Families cut off contact, offer no help, even refuse to meet once a child stays away too long. On paper, Rumspringa is about freedom. In reality, it's a test of endurance. No one teaches them how to rent a place, open a bank account, get a job. Those who fail are proof the outside world is meaningless. Their loss is seen as the faith's win. Some quietly fake it, pretend to come back, while secretly keeping ties to the outside. But if found out, they risk shunning, even if they haven't officially been baptized. Often those pulled into reckless spirals are welcomed back as if nothing happened. Community leaders turn a blind eye so long as the youth submit. Instead of teaching consequences, they let society punish them and use those wounds as moral lessons. No recovery programs, no therapy, no path except back into place, pretending it never happened. From the outside, Rumspringa looks like tolerance. In truth, it's a loyalty test. Rebellion is allowed only if it ends in obedience. Those who don't return become cautionary tales, leave, and you lose everything. Yes, some use Rumspringa to escape and start new lives. But they're rare, and often pay with years of isolation, poverty, and deep psychological scars. The running is only what's visible. Beneath it lies a storm of unresolved inner conflict. For many Amish youth, Rumspringa isn't freedom. It's a maze with no exit. Number 2. The Law of Silence. When an Amish person is baptized, they silently vow to obey the community's moral code, social order, and doctrine. There's no paperwork, no contract, but breaking it means total severance, known as shunning. Shunning isn't just avoiding conversation. It's punishment by absence. The shunned can't eat at the same table, can't be greeted, can't ask for help. In severe cases, they're denied any interaction, not even eye contact. For someone raised entirely in this tight-knit circle, it's like being erased. Leaving after baptism almost guarantees shunning. But it's not just for those who walk away. Even small acts, hiding a phone, keeping in touch with the shunned, questioning church elders, can bring the same discipline. The harshness depends on the Amish group, but among the conservative Old Order shunning is enforced like gospel. In many families, a shunned child is never invited home again, not even for a sibling's wedding or a dying parent's bedside. They're not kicked out, just made invisible. No dialogue, no explanations, no negotiations. Some try living on the edge, not outright disobedient, but not fully compliant. But suspicion alone can get them expelled from church and cut off from every vital connection. Parents, siblings, friends, neighbors, all turning away in unison. To the Amish, this isn't emotional punishment. It's how they preserve order and purity. Isolate one, and the message is clear: step outside, and you choose loneliness. Not out of hate, but principle. And that principle overrides every relationship. Yet the psychological toll is undeniable. Many spiral into depression, identity crises, and deep confusion. Being erased socially leaves them floating no longer part of the old world, but unready for the new. Some withdraw entirely, choosing solitude over either extreme. The harshest truth. The shunned aren't always bad. Sometimes they just ask questions, express doubts, or want to stay in touch with family who've left. They're excluded not for rebellion, but for not fully conforming. There are stories of parents sneaking out to meet children in secret, sending money through third parties, pretending not to recognize them in public. Emotions buried beneath layers of law, and when law trumps love, society turns into a cold machine. Shunning isn't just a personal punishment, it's the system's shield. When one link steps out of line, the system must cut it off fast to protect the rest. That's why it's lasted since the 1600s. It's simple, effective, and doesn't need prisons or weapons to keep order. Those who've been shunned carry the scars even after building new lives. The silence doesn't stop when they leave it echoes in every memory, every missed holiday, every unanswered letter. Even when they walk away, they never fully leave. Number 3. The chains of bloodline. The Amish grow vertically few. Migration's internal marriages, lots of children. With over 300,000 people scattered across states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, they're a fast-growing religious group, but not through outreach. They don't recruit strangers. They raise the next generation. This closed loop has turned the Amish gene pool into a separate world with serious biological risks. Centuries of isolation mean many Amish branches are in effect extended families. Marriages happen within a small circle, often repeating ancestral pairings. This increases the occurrence of recessive genes rare in the general population to dangerous levels. Some rare genetic disorders have become so common among the Amish that doctors can diagnose based on family trees. Ellis von Creveld syndrome is one example, a rare bone disorder causing limb dwarfism and extra fingers. It's nearly non-existent elsewhere, but in some Amish groups, it's so common it's seen as acceptable. The consequences go beyond looks. Patients suffer heart issues, breathing problems, limited mobility, and shorter lifespans. Another is Cohen syndrome, causing intellectual disability, partial blindness, and muscle weakness. It nearly eliminates the chance for independent living. Those affected rarely leave the community due to inability to adapt, creating a cycle where defective genes keep circulating. Between 2004 and 2012, in one Amish community in Minnesota, 18 children died suddenly while playing or sleeping. no warning, no known conditions. For years, locals whispered explanations: accidents, fate, broken rituals. But in 2020, scientists found the real cause: a rare RYR2 gene mutation causing deadly heart arrhythmias. The mutation alone isn't fatal, but due to intermarriage, some children inherited 2 faulty copies and died without warning. Doctors at Mayo Clinic spent years researching using massive genetic databases and convincing families to undergo testing before cracking the mystery. The question isn't why this happens, but why it continues. Cultural isolation, faith in divine destiny, and a lack of outside medical intervention keep it buried. Many families accept these abnormalities as a normal part of life. No genetic counseling, no premarital testing, no shared data between communities for early warnings. The impact is huge. A generation burdened with lifelong health issues. Mothers carry the entire load, already raising 6 to 10 children on average. Many special needs kids don't get proper schooling, locking them into a cycle of educational and personal limitation. Loyalty to bloodlines is becoming a double-edged sword. Behind every case is a community forced to face the true cost of preserving purity. A few small groups have started accepting outside medical advice, but most keep their distance. Bringing in an outsider doctor is seen as breaking faith, even a moral decline. In a place where every child is seen as a gift from God, no one wants to talk about genetic risks. But the consequences can't be ignored. This is no longer just about faith or tradition. It's about survival. Number 4. The invisible authority. In the Amish world, gender isn't just biological. It dictates nearly every aspect of life. From clothing and behavior to who gets a voice, everything is bound to the sex you were assigned at birth. The social structure follows a strict hierarchy, with power concentrated entirely in baptized men who hold positions in the church. Amish women are born into predetermined roles: mother, wife, and silent supporter. From childhood, girls are trained to serve the household, learning to sew, bake, watch younger siblings, and clean. Formal education ends at 8th grade. After that, they're prepped for full-time homemaking, supporting their husband's farm work, and raising 6 to 10 kids over the course of marriage. Within the church, women have no voice. They can't be spiritual leaders, can't preach, and don't vote on major decisions. Every religious role, from bishop to elder, is held by men. Even in community meetings, a woman's opinion is usually filtered through her husband or father. Clothing is more than religious symbolism, it's control. Women wear long dresses with full sleeves, no flashy patterns or colors. They always wear a bonnet, a cloth head covering that signals humility and submission. Any deviation, like a skirt a few inches too short or shoes that are too bright, can be criticized or flagged as a sign of moral decline. Women aren't allowed to run businesses independently unless their husbands approve, and rarely hold property in their own names. In marriage, the man decides where the family lives, how children are raised, and how much contact they have with the outside world. Divorce practically doesn't exist, not legally banned, but socially unacceptable. A woman wanting to escape an abusive or controlling marriage has nowhere to go. No property, no job, no support network. Birth families often refuse to intervene, afraid of clashing with church leadership. These exits go unrecorded, not because they don't happen, but because the women are forced into total silence. When women leave the community, it often comes with shunning, meaning they lose their children. Unwritten laws favor custody for those who stay. So many endure the system, not because they believe in it, but because leaving would cost them everything. Gender also shapes how stories are passed down. Community success tales shared in church focus on men, great preachers, prosperous farmers, spiritual leaders. Women are praised for humility, sacrifice, and endurance. No one asks what they truly feel. No one asks what they need. Some women choose to leave, but the price goes far beyond exile. They must relearn everything: how to rent a home, get a job, open a bank account, interact with a world they've only glimpsed from afar. What they were taught to fear becomes the key to survival. They don't leave to rebel. They leave because they can't endure it anymore. Gender isn't written into law in the Amish community, but it's stitched into every thread of daily life, quietly, firmly, almost impossible to untangle. Number 5. Buried secrets. In a world where religion governs all aspects of life, where church outweighs law, sexual abuse becomes a subject that simply isn't allowed to exist. But absence isn't truth. Silence just distorts what's right and wrong. Independent investigations show that sexual abuse in Amish communities isn't isolated. Some cases happen within families, others in schools or churches. What links them is how they're handled. Kept quiet, handled internally, never reported to police. Victims, mostly women and children, are told to forgive, pray, and carry on as if nothing happened. This isn't a fluke, it's a system. Amish leaders often manage such cases privately. They arrange accountability meetings between the abuser and the abused, overseen by elder men in the church. No doctors, no lawyers, no legal representation. Most end with an apology and a promise to change. Offenders remain in the community with their roles and power intact. Victims rarely speak up again. The first time, they were told to stay quiet. The second, they'd be blamed for tarnishing the community's reputation. In some cases, the accuser is flipped into the villain, accused of lying, creating division, or losing faith. Recent journalism, including exposés by Cosmopolitan and NPR, has uncovered many such incidents in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana. Some victims were just 10 or 12 years old. Some only escaped after years of surveillance and control when they found help from the outside or left the community entirely. One major case involved a man accused of abusing multiple children in his family over 7 years. The investigation only began when one victim ran away and reported it to local police. When officers arrived, elders initially refused to cooperate, then demanded it be handled internally. The court disagreed. The man was convicted. But the trial exposed other victims who had never been named. The biggest barrier in these cases is lack of evidence and witnesses. Because of isolation, fear of shunning, and deeply ingrained shame, victims stay silent too long until the statute of limitations runs out. Some witnesses still live in the community aware, but unwilling to speak for fear of being punished differently. Amish doctrine emphasizes forgiveness, repentance, and humility. But when misapplied, those values become shields for evading accountability. Forgiveness stops being a choice for the victim, it becomes a duty. And the perpetrator doesn't need to repair the damage, just repent enough to keep their place in church. There are no formal mental health services in Amish communities. Trauma isn't treated. It's viewed as a lack of faith, a test to be prayed through. Those who don't heal are seen as spiritually weak and gradually pushed out of communal life. They end up isolating themselves. Those who leave to escape abuse lose everything family home identity. They must rebuild their lives from scratch while holding on to sanity after losing their foundation. A few outside organizations are working to bridge the gap, offering shelters legal aid and pathways to report abuse. But the distance between someone raised to obey absolutely and a world that demands painful public testimony remains vast. Progress is slow, quiet. In Amish life, abuse isn't denied with words. It's denied with absence. If no one mentions it, if no one's convicted, if life carries on, then the problem is buried right in the rhythm of everyday life. The danger isn't just that it's hidden, it's that too many people pretend it never happened. Number 6. Technology's quiet revolution. The Amish aren't completely disconnected from the modern world. They carefully choose which parts of it to let in. Nothing challenges that boundary more than technology. While conservative Amish still view things like electricity, smartphones, computers, and the internet as moral threats, the reality is becoming more nuanced. Some smaller Amish groups have started adopting what they call justified technologies tools that support daily work without disrupting their core values or community structure. On many farms, diesel generators power water pumps, equipment and heating systems for livestock. Solar panels are sometimes used, but only to light workspaces, never for personal convenience inside the home. Phones, when allowed, are placed in shared booths outside the house, used for business calls or emergencies, but never woven into daily life. In more flexible communities, basic tablets without internet access help manage sales records or interact with tourists. These shifts don't signal full acceptance of modern life. Instead, they reflect a quiet compromise, embracing limited functional tools while resisting lifestyle changes. For the Amish, technology isn't about innovation, it's about control. As long as a tool serves a purpose without altering the rhythm of life, it might be allowed. But the line is always thin and constantly under review. Technology isn't banned, it's tightly controlled. Amish people don't reject machines, they just don't let them reshape values or pace of life. The rule is clear: tools for work, not for leisure or identity. Young people feel this shift the most. During Rumspringa, many try smartphones, log into social media, stream videos. Some try to keep those links after returning hiding phones or staying connected through ex-members. In large communities, a double life is emerging: outwardly traditional, secretly wired in. This creates tension. Older members see tech as a moral threat, but they also can't ignore its role in farming business and healthcare. Some Amish businesses generate hundreds of thousands annually. Furniture, food, tourist rides. They need order software, card payments. They don't operate the systems, but hire outsiders to do it. Keep your hands clean, but get the job done. These compromises are quiet, not declared, just practiced. Tech no longer sits outside the Amish wall. It's slipping in through cracks. Tourists, business deals, children texting old friends, and at some point, even insiders struggle to tell where the line is anymore. Number 7. The widening fault line. The Amish population grows by about 3% each year, mostly from high birth rates, with families averaging 6 to 8 kids. There's no outreach strategy, no conversion campaign, just natural growth and strong community ties. As numbers rise, they need more land, stretching from traditional areas like Pennsylvania and Ohio into deeper regions of Missouri, Kentucky, even Canada. More people means new ways to make a living. Not everyone has farmland anymore. Many turn to carpentry, construction, baking, or organic produce. A new generation of Amish entrepreneurs is rising, not living just enough, but building businesses for outside markets. Some woodworking shops make hundreds of thousands annually. They ship nationwide. They don't email, but their hired staff do. Meanwhile, towns like Lancaster, PA, have turned Amish life into tourism. Horse-drawn tours, themed inns, and authentic restaurants draw millions. Some Amish families partner in these ventures, leasing land, selling souvenirs, posing with buggies. They don't speak on camera, but let others speak for them. Not everyone approves. Conservative groups see cultural exposure as betrayal. They reject all outside involvement, even for income. The rift between traditionalists and adapters is sharper than ever, not through shouting matches, but through how they make a living, how much they engage with outsiders. Each new business model is a step away from full control. Each online order placed by proxy is a sign of dependency. Yet that flexibility is what keeps the Amish from being crushed by modern life. The more they cling to tradition, the more they must confront a truth. The line between survival and surrender has never been thinner. Number 8. The price of purity. Isolation does not shield a community from conflict. It merely delays its arrival, often making it more difficult to address when it surfaces. Tradition, likewise, does not sustain itself without cost. In the Amish community, that cost is deeply personal and painfully visible, manifesting in the stark consequences of individual choice. Leave, and you are cut off from everything you've ever known. Stay, and you may be forced to suppress essential parts of who you are. There is no easy way forward, only trade-offs that grow heavier with each passing generation. For centuries, the Amish have built an enduring cultural wall around themselves. Their strict religious doctrines, rejection of modern conveniences, and closed social structures have served as both armor and anchor, shielding them from the chaos of the outside world, while also tying them firmly to a way of life that resists change. On the surface, this has given them remarkable cohesion and identity. But beneath that stability lies a growing tension. What was once a source of strength is increasingly a source of strain, especially for younger members who find themselves caught between inherited duty and personal truth. The concept of purity within the Amish context, once considered a mark of spiritual devotion and moral integrity, has evolved into something more rigid, more controlling. It's no longer just about living a humble life or preserving religious values. It has become a system of behavioral enforcement, a structure designed to maintain conformity at all costs. And that cost is high. It means silence over expression, obedience over questioning, and exile over diversity. The result is a community that appears united, but is quietly fraying at the edges. The pressure to conform is not only internal. External forces, rising population, economic shifts, and the relentless march of technology continue to push against the Amish way of life. Cell phones, solar panels, and even social media are creeping into spaces once untouched by modernity. Though the community fights to maintain its boundaries, these changes are neither trivial nor avoidable. They represent a growing friction between the traditions that define the Amish and the realities that surround them. Change is coming not as a wave, but as a quiet erosion. And even when resisted, it will carve its path. The question is not whether the Amish can survive modernity, but whether they can do so without hollowing out the soul of their community from the inside. Preserving a closed, insular model of living may once have been a triumph, but clinging to it unconditionally in the face of undeniable change risks turning that triumph into decay. Outwardly, the Amish still present an image of calm and continuity, but within cracks are spreading slow, silent, irreversible. These fractures may not yet have shattered the surface, but they are deep enough to signal a fundamental shift. Not loud, not declared, but unmistakably there. Thank you for joining NVL Travel Documentary on this journey to peel back the seemingly peaceful layers of a closed world. If what you have just seen has made you think more about freedom, faith, and the price to pay to maintain your identity, leave a comment. We always want to hear from your perspective. Don't forget to like, share if you think this content deserves to be spread, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other hidden corners waiting to be illuminated. We'll be back in places where the truth has never been told.